Hello everyone, Naushad here. In this tutorial we'll see how to edit and delete student data from a Firebase real-time database. So I have a list of students. If I try to update data of this student, I simply change it from the student detail page and click the update button, and that updates the data of the student in real time. Also, if I want to delete the data, I simply click the delete button, and that deletes the student data from the Firebase real-time database. So let's look in the code behind. First thing, inside dbfirebase.cs, I've added two new methods, update student and delete student. Let's first look at delete student, which takes three parameters: first name, last name, and age. So the first thing, we are trying to retrieve the student, which data we want to update. So we simply call this client.child, which is the student node. Dot, we call this method once async of type student, that returns a list of students, and then we use this link query to retrieve the student we want to update the data or delete the data. So we say a.object.firstname is equal to our given first name, and the last name is our given last name. And then simply finally we call this client.child, again student, then dot child, which is the key of the particular student, and we want to delete it. So for example, this is our child students, and then we want to retrieve this key of the student where the data has been saved, and then we could either update or delete that particular student's data. And for updating the student data, we again call this client.child, passing the child name, dot once async, passing the student type method, and using this link to retrieve the student data we want to update. And then we create a new instance of that student, which is given through this first name, last name, and age. And then we simply call this client.child, again the student node, dot child. This time it's our specific key of that particular student, and then we want to make these changes passing this student object. So let's now look at the views. So inside views, students page.xaml, I've added this item tab event handler on item selected, and for the code for this event handler, we are trying to retrieve the student that has been selected. And if the student is not null, we want to navigate to this new details page, passing this student object that we retrieve it up here. And let's now look at the code for students detail page. So in this students detail page, we have three entries for the first name, last name, and age. We do also have two buttons with clicked event handler, btn update student and btn delete student. And these three entries are bound to this first name, last name, and age. Let's now look at the code for deleting and updating the student. So the first thing, we change this constructor and pass this student parameter, and then we bind that to the student object, and then we initialize the db firebase services class inside the constructor as well. And when we click the button delete student, we simply call this services.delete student method, which we created inside our db firebase class up here. And also for updating the student, we simply call this services.update student, passing this parameter. And once that's done, we navigate back to this new students page. And finally, inside app.xaml.cs class, make sure you wrap the main page to a new navigation page. Otherwise, you will get an error. So let's just run the code and see if that works. So the app is running. If I click in this student, John Paul, that takes me to the detail page with the first name, last name, and age. And if I try to change his age to 24, and let's make it John Davis, and click the update button, this updates the student data in real time. And if I also want to delete the student, I simply click on the delete button, and that deletes the data in real time. So that was it for this tutorial. If you have liked this tutorial, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I should see you on my next tutorial. Thank you.